rising up through bold, play a fiddle hard. The fellas go loose in Georgia and the devil deals the cards. If you win, you get this shining fiddle made of gold. If you lose, the devil gets you sold.
Hi there, and welcome to another Ginger Prince Productions video. This time we're going to look into a slightly different concept, the idea of Satan. And I know there's a lot of Christians out there that don't really believe in Satan anymore, but there's still a large group of predominantly fundamentalists and conservative Christians who do believe in Satan as a real and existent entity. And I'm going to just look at a few questions that should expose the logical incoherency of Satan and the belief in such an entity. All these questions and more can be found in my latest book, which is going through the distribution channels at the moment, the little book of Unholy Questions by myself. So buy it, you know you want to, and even if you don't want to, you know, buy it anyway. So Satan's a bit of an odd one. You have this entity that is potentially the yin to God's yang, this kind of antithesis of everything God is, the evil to God's good. But the whole entity of Satan demands sort of questions about God, really, because at the end of the day, if God created everything and He's the one true, God, who's all loving and so on and so forth, then why did He create Satan? What need is there for Satan to exist? If Satan is a fallen angel and God has omniscience, then why He would have known that Satan would have fallen as an angel and still created him anyway. So basically, the biggest question that arises with Satan is that Satan must provide a greater good than evil for God to permissively allow him to exist. And not even permissively, he must have actually thought, when actualizing the world and deciding which world he wanted, there's this world where Satan fell and then became, was a good angel and fell and became Satan. And he thought, that's the world I want. So he actively wants Satan to exist. And I think that's got to be the biggest question. Why? What extra good does Satan provide? And if God is omnipotent, if He has all the power in the world, He could just do away with Satan. So this again proves that He must want Satan to exist, because if He's omnipotent, He should be able to just go, poof, Satan, you're gone. And apparently He hasn't done that. So He's been kicking around for at least several thousand years, generally getting up to no good. So this kind of service that Satan must provide inspired me with one of the questions you heard so far, but this one: if, as above, you are able to rid us of Satan but choose not to, then it follows that Satan must provide a valuable service, rather like the prison service and other such correctional institutions. It then follows that Satan is effectively following your orders or wishes, otherwise you would stop him. In this way, Satan becomes a management arm of yourself, and thus Satan simply becomes you, and certainly becomes your responsibility. In this way, are you Satan, God? And I find that really fascinating, that Satan effectively is a management arm of God and must be doing His bidding. So I can't really equate that with an all-loving, all-knowing, all-powerful God. Also, the notion that Satan would do what he would have done is pretty ridiculous, because he would have known that God was omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent, all-loving, all-powerful, and all-knowing, so that when he fell and decided to go against God, to act against God, he knew he would never ever have any chance of succeeding. He must have known that God is all-powerful, so what's the point of falling yourself to start what couldn't be an endless battle against God unless He wanted you to fall? It's just completely logically bonkers. And it seems like, if you do believe that Satan exists, then humans seem to be a pawn in the battle between, good and evil, between God and Satan. We're just, chess pieces on a board played off against each other, reflecting the battle between God and Satan. In Revelations, we have Satan being thrown into the lake of fire himself and being tormented for a rather long time. So this is apparently what will happen. So if Satan is actually thrown into a lake of fire and tormented himself, who's doing the tormenting, and who will take over in hell while Satan is absent? Because I presume God would take over the torturing, in which case, God really is Satan. Needs explaining that one. Also, if God permits Satan to torture people for an eternity in hell, especially for punishment for finite sins, it seems unfair that God would allow that. You do something, a particular bad, and it can be a pretty horrendous bad, but it's a finite bad that happens on earth at a particular time, and yet you are punished for eternity, for the rest of time, and the punishment simply just cannot fit the crime. It's just impossible. To be infinitely punished for something that's finite is just nonsensical. And is that the characteristic of an all-loving God? I don't think it is. At the end of the day, if God espouses forgiveness, then surely he can forgive Satan, and why not? So really, those questions, there aren't too many on Satan, because really Satan, well, to me Satan is a fairly obviously non-existent mythological sort of invention, but it makes very little sense that an all-loving God would have some kind of entity in place with the remit of torturing and enslaving souls, if souls exist, for an eternity. It's just the notion of hell, as you might have seen in my questions to God number 1. The notion of hell is ridiculous, and the notion of Satan running this sort of living abattoir is even more ridiculous. So basically, I hope you can see some of the logical inconsistencies of Satan, and I'll be interested if you have any comments. Please put them below or put a video response. Take it easy and stay tuned for next Ginger Prince production and wind.
Rising up, people play a fiddle hard. Cause I was loose in Georgia and the devil deals the cards. If you win, you get the shining fiddle made of gold. If you lose, the devil gets you sold. Devil opened up his case and he said, I'll start this show with fire. Quick from his fingertips, he rolled it up his bow and then he pulled his bow across the string.